don't know. Will it be on your phone? Probably not. Will you have a plastic debit card? Probably not. No, remember Professor Richard Werner told us how this will work and what this control will do to all of us. Watch.
Also, they never talk about the nature of this CBDC. What is it actually going to look like? They never talk about that. Right. But I heard one European central banker tell me what it's going to look like. He saw it. He was invited to one of the old central banks in Europe that are very much promoting this, and they showed him. And he's a top executive director of another central bank in Europe, and there's no reason to believe that he was telling me a story. And it was around this large, and would be implanted under your skin. So that is the plan. Right.
Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but in the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Call Holo Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Chachodash, and double honors and salutations out to the elders and apostles of the great millstone, those that taught us just truth, rule well, the water for all of your diligency throughout all these years. But you are definitely worthy of double honors. And shalom as well out to the Bayat Dabudad, the house of David, the 144,000 elect body of men that are studying profusely and diligently throughout the four corners of the earth, that we may be counted worthy in that day, all right, to be the new governing body of the kingdom to come. Shalom unto you. Keep pushing. As well as innumerable 1/3 that consists of men, women, and children that have been blessed with the mark of the Dua, which is exempt from judgment, pursuant to Ezekiel 9 and 4. All right, keep pushing, man. It's speaking loud and clear. The visions are speaking. They're set for an appointed time, and at the end they will speak and not lie. And you can see right here, as plain as day, the elders and apostles of great millstone were always right. Plain and simple, hands down, make no mistake about it. They were always right. All right? And there's a lot of camps out here that are going to have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of backpedaling. All right? The vision is speaking and it is being made manifest, man. It is here. All right? As you can see with it, what it reads right up here off top, the WEF says the CBDC must be implanted under the skin if you want to participate in society. And there it is right there. And the first precept I'm going to pull with that, which you already know I'm going to, Revelations 13:16. And he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand and in their foreheads. You see that? And a mark in their right hands or in their forehead. And what is that mark? That mark, when you go into that word, that is a charagma, right? Which is a piercing, right? An incision under the skin. All right? It goes on to say, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So there it is right here. Call Holo Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. All right? This is the checkmate move that the men of the Lord have been waiting on, that we've been suffering patiently for, and it's here. Make no mistake about it. All right? This article came up actually on YouTube, or the post, I should say, came up on YouTube. And so I went and actually found the article. And just through the Spirit, I'm just going to pull a few precepts here, and I brought this out. It'll be edifying. All right. It's like I said, our elders and apostles of Great Millstone have always been right. All right. Pertaining to what this MOTB is, man. All right. The mark of the beast, the C-hip. All right. This was prophesied over 2,000 years ago, all right? And we are now in that latter end time where it's coming to fruition, All right, so understand this was planned years in the making. All right, the crashing of the dollar, all right, was deliberate to be able to switch over to this monetary system, which we see here. All right, because at the end of the game, at the end of the day, it's all about total control. All right, Esau uses propaganda machines, his pseudoscience, his enchantments to further push his enterprise into that checkmate position. All right, and as you can see here, this is a celebratory time for Esau Edom. All right, because he's accomplished it. Okay, and now this thing is getting ready to be rolled out. You've been warned about this, Jake. You've been warned about this for over 30 years, starting with the head apostles on down, man. That this day was coming, and now it's here. Make no mistake about it, man. So understanding, in order to be able to get this in fruition, to get this kicked off, things had to be put in play first. All right, they had to, crash this, the economy. All right, they had to inflate the dollar. All right, now I'm going to go into this article a little bit. I read it. I read it, but I'm just going to kind of skim through it as it's somewhat long here. But I'm just going to just kind of skim through it here and pull some points out and pull some precepts. All right, and then, like I said, I brought this out. This will be edifying. All right, I think we'll start at right about here. All right, it says, it's a conditional currency based upon your actual getting that permit. Now, if you happen to have some kind of critic of government policy or a critic of central banks, this could be difficult. Or if you dare to step out of the 15-minute city zones, and that's what we talk about, the smart cities that they're building, because all this goes back to the fourth industrial revolution. Okay, the Internet of Things. All right, connecting man, merging man with machine. Okay, and smart cities is a huge part of that. 15-minute smart cities, of which they're building right now across the globe. Okay, look into the Development Act of 2003. Okay, and when you look at the regulations and you look at how that's going to be rolled out, okay, when you look at all of a sudden it's stopped. We don't hear too many of these train derailments. Well, there's a reason for all this. Okay, all this is being led up to what we see here at the top of this article. Okay, which is the CBDC. Okay, it goes on to say, 15 minutes city zones. You'll know maybe if you'll find that, oh, my CBDC is not working. Of course, these are some of the things that we've already seen in China, right? Because China has always been kind of the test ground, all right, for things that they're going to roll out eventually over here in Babylon the Great. Okay, we need to talk about the what do you want to call it, the C-19 and so forth and so on. All right, it's always been pretty much the testing ground, and so it's been a race with all these nations to be able to, who's going to be the one to be able to capture that fourth industrial revolution, because whoever captures that or whoever spearheads that is going to have control over the entire globe, man. All right, but we know just through the spirit and through the scriptures that that's not going to happen. That's not going to take place. But these devils are going to try it anyway. All right, because they're in a lot to do so. But it goes on to say there's plenty of videos where someone is trying to use it to buy a ticket and it doesn't work because it has because their social credit score is low. Right, China is pushing that social credit score, which we know. You have to be on good behavior. They monitor you everywhere you go. And everything that you do, they're monitoring you, all right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about, like I said, total control, okay? So this is what this is headed to. It goes on to say, and effectively, there is no real right to appeal. With very few people controlling the very many, the controllers will use computers and algorithms to run the system. If you appeal the blocking of the CDC, you will be dealing with an automated response. Right, so they already have this set up and in play, man, because there's no way around what these devils have got planned, man. Okay? Goes on to say, Prof. Warner explains the central's planners, as he calls them, the orchestrated inflation to cover up change of the banking system. Right, and that's what I said in opening in this lesson. All right, this is basically they have to purposely inflate in order to change over the monetary system. All right, they've done it before, and this is just another ploy to do it again. Okay? For example, in 1970, the high inflation was orchestrated to cover up the move from the gold-backed U.S. dollar to the petrodollar. Right. and the high inflation we've experienced in 2021 and 2022 has been orchestrated to cover up the move from the petrodollar to what? The CBDC, causing all, both great and small, rich and poor. See, this is Esau. He's been causing the people, he's been squeezing us into that tunnel. Okay, well, you have no choice but to accept this. All right, like I said, he uses his military as a media machine, right? His propaganda, okay, to push forth. All right, his facts checking and all of that BS that he comes through, that he rolls out, okay, in order to convince the people that this is the way to go, this is the path to go down. As Scripture says, there is a way that seems right unto a man, but at the end that it's nothing but death. Roughly paraphrasing, okay. Goes on to say, in March 2020, the Federal Reserve and other key central banks adopted the QE2 as a recommendation for the deflation or shrinking of the economy. In March 2022, economists weren't shrinking, but the Federal Reserve adopted the QE2 and bought up assets from non-banks, forcing banks to create credit. Right. It was very clear it was going to create inflation. You see, so this was already in the making, okay? This was not an error in judgment. It was an intentional. Okay, Prof. Warner explains it was a very specific policy that is very rarely taken. Prof, this is a way of deliberate action. Prof. Warner said this was just before the C19 in August 2019. There was a conference in Jackson, the whole of the annual Central Banks Conference, but it invited BlackRock, the big asset manager, and BlackRock made a proposal. They said there will be another crisis. Right? But this time we should create inflation. They never explained why. They just say we must create inflation. And here's how we're going to do it. And they cited my proposal without mentioning my name, of course, right? So let me just pull some precepts here, because at the end of the day, like I said, this was all orchestrated, all right, and it was planned to happen. But in the scriptures, we know this was written to happen. Okay, the crashing of the dollar was meant to happen in order to roll this system out. They had to be able to remove paper money in order to push it to their enterprise and next agenda. This is Zephaniah 1 and 10 and 11. And it shall come to pass in the day, saith the Lord, that there shall be a noise, there shall be a noise cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing in the hills. Howl, ye inhabitants of Mektesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, and all they that bear silver are cut off. Right, so you see, the noise of the fish gate is talking about, is likened to the 1932 stock market crash. And a howling from the second is likened to the 2008 stock market crash. And a great crashing in the hills, we know in the scriptures, hills are nothing but smaller governments. All right, it's talking about the coming economic crash, or should I say the economic crash of the U.S. dollar to set up this MOTB system. All right, when you actually do your research on Mektesh, it was actually an ancient city, all right, near Jerusalem, that was likened to a stock market, all right, where men would go and they would trade gold and silver and whatnot. Okay, so it goes on to say, for all the merchant people are cut off, are cut down, and all they that bear silver are cut off. All right, and this is a parable for the crash of the world economic system. Okay. And this will affect everyone in the world across the board. You have to understand this, all right? And we already seen tremendous job loss and businesses being shut down and so forth and so on. All these things are planned to usher this in, okay? Make no mistake about it. And like I said, this is going to be something that everyone on the planet is going to have to participate in, all right? Matter of fact, let me get that out. Was that Isaiah 24 and... Isaiah 24 and 2. Isaiah 24 and 2. And it shall be, what shall be? This system that's coming, that as the people, so with the priest, as with the servants, so with his master, as with the maid, so with his mistress, as so with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. You see that? Going back to what? Revelations 13:16. He calls it all, both great and small, rich and poor, to receive this charagma in their right hand, which we see here is the CBDC, or in their forehead, which we know is Elon Musk's Neuralink. All right? So all this is to be connecting man to the Internet of Things, all right? To the beast system, merging man with machine, which inevitably will give them total control. Okay? Make no mistake about it. Let's go back into here. This article a little bit. Let's pull a bit more out of here. It says, I was talking about BlackRock here, and there'll be a conference. All right, and BlackRock made a proposal, and they said, yeah. All right, but this time we should create inflation, and never explained why. Right, because they don't have to, okay? All right, these are the top 1% bankers, man. All right, that chiefly run out of Europe, man, okay? Out of the city-state of London. All right, okay, so they don't have to explain to anybody why they're doing these things. They just mandate it and it's done. So it says they never explain why. They just say we must create inflation. Right. So we see that as the scriptures let it be known, this was prophesied to happen, and here's how we're going to do it. Okay, so let's go down here. And there's no more factor, Prof. Warner said. The Federal Reserve hired BlackRock in March 2020 to buy assets. And QE was, where's it at? I lost my place. Deflammatory situation, but the way they were using it, it had to cause inflation. There was no doubt that they knew it because they even said it. So this current inflation is entirely intentional, created by the central banks, by the central planners. So how are we going to punish them for this? Oh, let's give them more power. Let's give them more unprecedented power over everything, over life on earth, through central bank digital currency. He causes all, both great and small, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in his right hand or his forehead. You see that? Which gives them what I said, ultimate control. All right, so it's the true reason I think why they want this inflation is because they want to cover up essentially the disintegration, the disintegration of the petrodollar, and move to a new system which they want to be CBDC based. All right, so at the moment there is talk that the CBDC is used via phone-based apps. So yes, this is its initial phase, but this was already around in 2015. Its ultimate goal, what they really want, apparently, I told the central bankers, is CBDC looks like a small grain of rice that they want to put under the skin, which is which is, in my view, a violation of human dignity. And they realize there is a hurdle to get people to accept this, Prof. Warmer said. Right. So there it is right there. There it is right there in plain plain English. Matter of fact, let's see what this guy has to say here. He said some pretty interesting points here that I just kind of want to pull out here. Let's go back to about here.
That when you study this objectively, this proposal to have CBDCs, do you remember the exact words they put it? Something like this: there doesn't seem to be a convincing value proposition, i.e., there's no need for it.
Right.
And one central bank,
but other than total control,
has quite honestly said this publicly. He stated, this is Neil Kashkari, who's one of the presidents of I think it's the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, one of the American minor central, Federal Reserve banks. But he said that, CBDCs is, it's all clever stuff, but it seems to be a solution for a problem that we don't have. There's no problem. We don't need it. And that is the...
Right, but see, this is what these people do, all right? Order out of chaos, okay? They create chaos and come in with the order or the solution. Okay, what's that chaos that they've created? Okay, through our financial system. Okay, the inflation of the USD. They create that chaos so they can come in with a better, sweeter way. But this is how the devil works, man. Okay, but again, like I said, this is not going to be successful, because Yahweh Shah is going to come put an end to this, man. Job 5 and 12. He disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And that's exactly what this is, an enterprise. Look on the back of our U.S. dollar. All right. He has favored our enterprise. Nuos oro seclorum. Anuat coeptus, roughly paraphrasing. But look on the back of that dollar. That's Latin. That's basically talking about he has favored, he who, the God of this world, Satan, has favored their enterprise. Okay, but their enterprise will not come to full fruition. All right, the Lord had already spoken it. Okay, Esau's iniquities must continue to stack, and they have now reached unto heaven. You see? Let's listen.
Truth. So that's what there's this McKinsey study. When they studied this, there's actually no need for it. So why do we keep getting this news that they're pushing CBDCs? It's because the central planners want it.
Right.
Now the other thing they mentioned in that list, why it's not being rolled out faster, is, if it's such a clever thing, why is it not rolled out yet? So there's no actual need for it. That need has to be created, like a crisis will convince people.
See?
Secondly, there seem to be some technical problems, actually. And of course, think about this. They claim that, it's going to be more efficient and faster and whatever than cash. Well, you just need to switch off electricity. Your cash is still going to work.
Bam, and there it is. All they have to do is switch it off. But see, it's all about total control. See, if you still have currency, you have physical money, which the ultimate is gold, okay? If you have gold and silver, all right? If you have physical, something in your hand that's tangible, okay, they can't control that, or they can only control that to a certain extent. But if it's all electronic, if it's all put on the beast grid system, you're through. As he said, they could just simply cut the pot. They could just simply cut it. All right, you want to spend, they're going to start with the universal base income, okay? Give people a lot amount of money to be able to spend, okay? And within that time, they're going to be able to control what you spend, how much you spend, where you spend it at, so forth and so on. And that's the ultimate checkmate move.
CBDCs, well, good luck, Yeah. So it depends on a whole set of technologies that you need to work at the same time. So it is much more complex. It's not a very resilient system. So clearly there's a weakness. They mentioned that. And thirdly, they mentioned
Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, and every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. In the fullness, just when he's about to get it in order, just when he's about to, really start digging in, the Lord's going to put him in straits. Straits meaning a position of difficulty, man. And all the hands of the wicked, when you go into that word wicked, that means the laborers, all right? The other nations, chiefly Jake, though, all right? Because this man is going to be the most wanted man on the planet when it's all said and done, man. He must be exposed first, and that's what the Lord is doing, okay?
that, there is a problem here with trust. Why?
I'm just popping in for a moment here before Professor Werner goes through the third and fourth step.
Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is.
Why? It seems, they write in their report, that European citizens suspect that governments and central banks are just trying to roll this out in order to monitor and control and restrict transactions.
Isn't that what we said? Total control of resources, total control of human resources, finances, everything across the board. You see? Job 20 and 23. When he is about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. You see? Just when he's about to be in the fullness of it, just while he's eating, the Lord is going to cast down that fury. And what's that fury? ICBM missiles, man. All right? This is the last checkmate move, as we said, before the Lord comes, man, and he puts a finishing to this wicked, wicked-ass kingdom and puts Esau where he belongs, man, and destroys this whole system to usher in the new kingdom to come. You see? But all these things must happen first, man. And this is what the men of the Lord have been patiently waiting for.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. That's what apparently people think, and they're absolutely right. This is, in fact, the risk, because of course that is the true attraction for central planners in this very powerful technology. It's a technology where you see real time what everyone is doing, where they are, what they're buying. But it's not just about the know-how, the information you get and then can use for all sorts of things, but it's the power to interfere and intervene. In fact, essentially, you have to think of CBDCs as a control system, not a currency. Or
Thank you. And that's what we said, a control system. All right, this is a system or form of ultimate control at the end of the day, man. Okay, but it has to be ushered in a way where people are going to accept it. It's going to have to be okay with the people. Okay? But sooner or later, more sooner than later, Esau's going to show those horns, man. And he's not going to give a damn. Either you're going to take it or you're going to be put to death, man. And there's no other way around it. Okay? Matter of fact, let me get this right quick. What am I looking for here? Saki here, give me a second here. Let me get this right here. And this is Habakkuk 2:16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be upon your glory. And that's what's happening right now. They've taken hundreds of years to build America up to where they finally want to get it. Everything is finally in order, man. They've labored for years to get this finally where they want. America the great, America the beautiful, the land of the land where dreams come true, the land of milk and honey. And all these things are coming out, man. All this truth is being brought out, and how you got to this point. All the rape, robbery, and murder and killing that you've done to get to this point. So now shameful spewing is upon your glory right now. And now that people can see at the end of the day what through the Ruach HaKodesh, was the Holy Spirit that's working through the men of the Lord to expose this damn devil, or what your ultimate plan is, man. You see? You're being exposed on every level now, man. And this is a beautiful thing, man. Okay, let me grab one more here. This is let me get that one of my favorites here. Second here. Oh yeah. Matter of fact, I think I just have it here. Slovakia, bear with me here. All right, yeah, this is the one I wanted here. I'm trying to get in the right translation. All right, yeah, this is Habakkuk 2:5. Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. And what's that wine? His democracy. Okay, his religion. Okay, his science, and chiefly his USD. All right, his monetary system. Okay, neither keepeth at home. Right, because as we know, America's always in some other country and somebody else's business. Okay, it says whose enlarges his desire as hell and is as death. Wherever we go throughout the earth, we spread nothing but hellish conditions and death. Wherever we go, wherever America resides. And it says, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And how's he doing that? Through the New World Order, through this system. This beast, this goddamn devil, will not be satisfied until everybody and everything is under his thumb. And this is the checkmate move to do it. You see? So just a little bit more.
or a permit system. And again, we're back to the Soviet Union because, you know, you need a permit for everything. You know, may I breathe? Oh, you need a permission. You know, wait for the commissar to give you approval, because basically it's, you know, and they write this also in their report. Essentially, the issuer of the CBDC, which is the central bank, has the power to decide whether you can use it now for whatever you want to do. So for whatever you want to do, you have to essentially apply for permission. Wow. So it's a conditional currency based on you actually getting that permit. Now, if you happen to be some kind of critic of government policy or a critic of central banks, this could be difficult. Or if you dare to step out of the 15-minute city zone, you know, maybe you'll find that, oh, it's not working.
Right, so we went through that already. So this is Job 9:24. The earth was given into the hands of the wicked. And who is the wicked? As we know, Esau, Edom, Malachi 1:4, lest that be known. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So these people have total control. The Heavenly Father has given control over the control of the earth over to this man for a period of time, for a short period of time, a little season, if you will, when you go into Revelations, the 20th chapter. Okay? And call Holo Yahabashim Yasha, we are at the end of that little season, man. I just want to grab this up top, and it goes on here saying, what is this little part up here as I was reading? Yeah, and it talks about, it describes what it looks like. And then in the video, the opening video, the guy said the same thing. A small grain of rice that will put under your skin. All right, and it says, so they'll be using crisis, disruption, and unemployment to introduce universal basic income, to soften the public up to accepting the CBDC, MOTB is what it should be, implant under the skin. You will get 2,000 euros into your account every month, but of course, to run this efficiently, they'll say we need to use the latest technology, right? The MOTB. So you'll need the CBDC CHIP implant. Checkmate, game over. You see that? So there's nothing else to even say. Okay? This is where we're at, Jake. All right, we're at the end. We're at the very end, man. Ezekiel 33 and 33. And when it comes, and when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. What? These prophecies that have been speaking. Then shall they know that a prophet had been among them. And the men of the Lord are out here. All right? Sighing and crying for the abominations that have been done thereof in the midst. All of the things that all of the legislation, all the wicked things that they're passing. And now finally their checkmate move is being made manifest right here. And there's no way around it. All right? It ain't sleeping with white women. It ain't Caesar Borgia, JC. It ain't none of that, man. All right? It's the C-hip. Plain and simple. Call Holo Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash. Baba Shalom.